Hi, this is Carl the Cobra Frutch, and you're watching Lights Out.
The heavyweight division may just have found its new boogeyman. Oleksandr Usyk, be aware, be very, very aware. Fabio Wardley is coming for you. Or is he, or is he not? This is Fessor Khan for Lights Out, proudly sponsored by Spartans Law. And this is podcast 84 of the Lights Out Boxing podcast. And with me, I'm delighted to be joined by my right hand man, Mr. Mohsin Gulshir, aka Ron. Ron, it is a late Saturday stroke Sunday morning. Good to see you, my man, as always. How you doing? How you feeling? Excited? Off on holiday tomorrow? Lucky for some.
Yep, absolutely. Looking forward to it. But I'm sure we're going to crack on with talking about the boxing tonight. That's what I'm more excited about. So I made this exception for you. I should be catching up on my sleep, but here we are.
Mate, you're going on holiday tomorrow. What are you going to sleep for? I mean, like, there's no need to go to sleep. But anyway, yes, it's lucky for some that we can just, walk out on families and just leave whenever we want. But no, I'm only joking. I am slightly jealous, but yeah, fair play to you, Ron. Before we get started, to those that haven't already, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell for more Lights Out boxing content. Check us out on all of our social media platforms. Links are below in the description. This podcast is also available on all the audio platforms, which include Spotify. Shout out to our sponsor, Spartans Law, for their continued support, forever and always backing us, and something that truly means a lot to Lights Out Boxing. Before we obviously get started with the podcast, Ron, it's your responsibility, my man. So fire away with a quick fire question. I'm looking forward to this because we only just decided to do this pod about an hour ago. We were going to delay it till you come back, but I thought, no, we've got to give the fans what they deserve. So go on, Ron, fire away, mate. What's today's quick fire question?
I think it's going to tie in with our talking point today. I think most controversial stoppage by a referee. I'm sorry, I've got to put you on the spot here. I mean, that's going to be our major talking point in today's. But any that comes to your mind that you're thinking that stopped too early, stopped too late, or referee's done such a poor job, or just hit me. So what have you got for me?
I have to go Froch Groves one for me. The Meldrick Taylor one does come into my mind, but I definitely have to go for the Froch versus Groves one. I thought Howard Foster had an absolute stinker. I thought it was a very soft stoppage. And I thought it was a get out of jail free card for the Cobra Carl Froch. But however, we did get to see a rematch, and it was in front of 80,000 fans, Ron, at Wembley. Don't know if you know, if you knew that.
Yeah, I think he did remind Mayweather of that as well. I think when he met him. For me, it's going to be quite a strange decision where Mills Lane deducted 1 point or something from Mike Tyson for biting Holyfield's ear. I thought that was quite a controversial moment. Like you should have been stopping the fight there, man. Like, but fair enough, man. It's yeah.
Controversy is something that surrounds boxing
Howard
quite a
Foster.
lot. Look,
Yeah.
controversy.
Well, I mean, with referees, they play a crucial role. Yeah.
Absolutely. Controversy is something that surrounds boxing quite a lot. We've just witnessed an absolute slobber knocker at the O2 Arena, and I think me and you both are going to agree when we say this. It's definitely a potential for fight of the year. It's a candidate for a fight of the year. It was a phenomenal fight between Fabio Wardley and Joseph Parker, two of the top heavyweight operators. But in the end, Fabio Wardley just does what Fabio Wardley does. He stopped Joseph Parker in round 11. We're going to get to the stoppage. But firstly, Ron, your thoughts on the fight itself, mate?
For me, I absolutely enjoyed that fight. That was it was like a seesaw kind of moment, where early on Parker started off strong. We thought he would, showing off his experience, showing his experience, kind of starting off well. But then I think the second round was definitely Wardley's, and it just kind of kept on going back and forth. Then it was kind of a period where Parker was using his jab, using his experience. But my boy, both of them had some solid chins in that fight. I think Wardley came of age in that fight. I really thoroughly enjoyed that. The power punches that they landed on each other. For me, it's definitely going to be up there for Fight of the Year contender. Or what did you make of it? What did you think?
You know what? It's becoming like a common pattern with Fabio Wardley. I mean, how many times have we seen that guy being constantly hit and look in trouble, and then it's just something about when he's under that bit of pressure, he comes good. I thought it was a great fight. I said on my Twitter that I've got it down as a potential Fight of the Year candidate, and I knew it was going to be a good fight. I mean,
Mm.
like I said, you've got two of the tough operators in the heavyweight division, and yeah, phenomenal fight. Really, really good fight. Fabio Wardley, this guy, man, he's got a brilliant. I'm just sorry, I'm gonna have to rephrase that. He's probably got the best chin in boxing. I mean, I've seen him hit by Frazier Clark. I've seen Justice Hooney completely outbox him, and I saw Joseph Parker hit him with everything tonight. And every time he looks as if he's hurt or he's under a bit of pressure or he's on the back foot, that's when that guy becomes most dangerous. And
Mm.
it makes you think, what on earth have you got to do to stop him? It was a really, really good performance from Joseph Parker, but I think Fabio Wardley right now, for me, it's going to take a lot to stop that guy. I mean, he just does not know when he's beaten, and he just does not know the meaning of pain. I mean, this is a guy that's coming from a white collar background as well, who's only had what, four white collar fights, and he's getting better and better as as his career goes on. I mean, I mentioned the fight with Frazier Clark. He fought Frazier Clark twice. The first one was a draw. Second one, you saw what he did to him in just one round. And then obviously the Justice Hooney fight, he was miles ahead. I think he lost every round, and then out of nowhere he pops up with the goods. And tonight for me was the ultimate test. Former world champion Joseph Parker, who's on a great run so far, wins against Wilder, Zhang, Bacoli, a fighter who sort of resurrected his career under Andy Lee. And listen, I mean, well, we'll talk about the controversy in regards to the stoppage, but there's only one winner tonight, and that is Fabio Wardley. Ron, would you say right now that he's the second best heavyweight in the world in today's current rankings, of course, not like going on previous fighters' achievements and former world champions and how the governing bodies work? I mean, is it fair to say that he is the second best heavyweight in the world right now?
He's beat the second best heavyweight in the world. So that kind of logic goes that he should assume that position. But, he had no right to get to that position. If with all due respect, the level of opposition that each of these fighters have fought, Justice Hooney, he's definitely not a top 10 fighter, but he's an up and coming, bright prospect who I think very highly of. Possibly top 20, would you say, with Justice Hooney? Frazier Clark, he's in the top 20 as well. Maybe it may be slightly out of that because there's so many other contenders. But if you look at Joseph Park's resume, who he's fought and who he's beat in his little run with Andy Lee since they've started working together. But you're only as good as your last fight. And, Wardley came through his toughest test with flying colors. Yes, there were points where he looked very vulnerable in that fight, but you need something like a sledgehammer to keep this guy down. Or even, I mean, I don't know how you even get him down because he's got a granite chin. We were talking about, chins, and I think I might need to reconsider, who if I was to pick the best chin in boxing right now, he's definitely up there. Is he number two? According to the rankings, he is.
Not according to the rankings, Ron. I mean, would you say right now? I mean, you got Fury, Joshua, whether they're going to fight again, we don't know. Is,
Yeah.
you
No, look,
still
I mean,
got Daniel
those.
Dubois. Is he number two right now
I
in your
think those
rankings?
guys. No, I think those guys have. They've achieved a lot more in their careers as of now. Look, I don't want to burst his bubble. He's on a high. You can see how much it meant to him after the referee stopped it. He just collapsed on the floor. He gave his heart and soul, and he showed what it meant to him in that post-fight interview with Ade. It was a tremendous performance. But I wouldn't put him as number two. But respect where he needs to be given, man. Give him his flowers. I mean, take nothing away from him from that performance and what he achieved. All the commentators, all the pundits, he proved them wrong. I think he proved us wrong. Neither of us had him winning that. I mean, I listened to Talk Sport, with Simon Jordan and those boys. Definitely didn't give him any shot, any chance. And Joseph Parker was talking about fighting. I mean, obviously it's probably tongue in cheek, but maybe facing Toma in December. Look, this guy's turned up the heavyweight division. He's a new face of British boxing at the moment. Anthony Joshua's not on the scene. He's not fought for a year. Tyson Fury's retired. Daniel Dubois is coming back from a very heavy loss. Itauma can't get an opponent. Fabio Wardley's jumped up that queue, whether we like it or not, man. So,
Well, look,
I
obviously
hope that answers your question.
Well, look, we're gonna discuss what is next for Fabio Wardley. Of course, we're gonna have to, because this is a guy who, right now, is in line for a undisputed title shot at Oleksandr Usyk. And when you talk about Usyk and the Brits, I mean, he's wiped the floor with all the British fighters. 2 wins apiece over Dubois, Joshua, and Tyson Fury. I think if I was Oleksandr Usyk right now, I'm looking at Fabio Wardley thinking, fucking hell, I'm going to sort of compare it to Rocky, Rocky 2. I remember when the Duke, sorry, what was Apollo's a trainer called?
Duke,
And
wasn't it?
I'm not too sure, but I do remember when Apollo was in his office, and you know his trainer turned around and said, "You beat that man like I've never seen you beat anybody else," and he just kept on coming back for more, and he's all wrong for you. I think. Something just gives me that feeling that Fabio Wardley is all wrong for Oleksandr Usyk. I mean, we've seen this guy absorb so much punishment in the last 3 fights. Well, the last 4 fights against the Frazier Clarks and the Justice Hoonies, and tonight against Joseph Parker. Like I said, I had him 7-10 down, 7-3 down against Joseph Parker. What do you do to sort of stop this guy? Because he's got a granite chin. I mean, he absorbs so much punishment, and whenever he looks like he's on the verge of getting knocked out, you know, he just goes psycho mode, and that's what I really like about Fabio Wardley. Rightfully so, I think he deserves an undisputed title shot against Oleksandr Usyk, because of obviously the white collar background, and because every time he's been in like a real true 50-50 fight, you just mentioned Simon Jordan and the Talksport boys sort of wrote him off going into this fight. He's proven everybody wrong, and I do generally believe that he will get a shot at the undisputed title next, because I do think that is the best challenge for Oleksandr Usyk right now. Is it fair comment to say that Wardley should get his undisputed title shot right now? Do you think there's anybody else out there, Ron, that is worthy of an undisputed title shot against a great Oleksandr Usyk right now?
I mean, the other name that comes to my mind is Ajit Kabayel as well. That's a name. But Joseph Parker was next in line. This is it. He took a big risk in taking this fight, and and the gambles paid off for obviously Fabio Wardley. Fabio Wardley's jumped up levels, man. Let's just get that right. He's no longer a British level fighter or a Commonwealth level fighter. He surpassed that. He surprised us. Yes, I think your assessment of the points, and you had him 7 rounds up. Did you say? I think that was a little bit harsh.
I had Parker 7-3 up going into
7-3
that
up.
11th round.
I think that's a little. I think some of the rounds were very close. I think, you know, the power punches that were landed by Wardley. Parker was boxing really well in spells. You know, using that really good jab of his, counter punching. You know, he had Wardley, you know, kind of in trouble at times as well. So, look, man, it is. I mean, look who we're talking about here. You know, Oleksandr Usyk, who look what he's done to elite level fighters like the Tyson Furies, the AJs, the
But
Chisoras, the
this is a guy, Ron,
you know, I
who
mean,
just does
Dan,
not know when he's beaten. That's why I think
yeah,
it's a potential dangerous fight for Oleksandr Usyk. I mean,
potentially, yeah, but I still think there's levels to this, and you know, Oleksandr Usyk has proven again and again that you know he there's you know you know he's going to go down as one of the goats in this sport, you know, and we're very fortunate that we've lived, you know, in that era that we've seen him fight.
one of the biggest talking points of tonight's fight was obviously the stoppage.
Mm.
Many people thought that it was a soft, premature stoppage. I thought it was a soft stoppage, you know, because Joseph Parker, um, look, you know, he's knocked down twice against Zhile Zhang, Dillian White, and he still got back up on his feet. He obviously suffered a heavy knockout to Joe Joyce. However, I just felt as if I would have liked to have seen Joseph
Mm.
Parker go out on his shield. And was he troubled? Was he hurt? Yeah, of course it was. I mean, there was a lot of unanswered punches there
Mm.
from
Mm.
Joseph Parker. I just think it was it was a soft stoppage, it was a soft stoppage. And there's going to be some controversy surrounding the fight. Obviously, I've not heard any interviews in regards to Frank Warren and Andy Lee on what they make of the stoppage, and obviously what Joseph Parker makes of the stoppage. But you know, what's your thoughts on it, Ron? Do you believe it was soft?
I 100% agree. No, it happened. This is it. This is why I asked you that question at the beginning, and it was that referee Howard Foster, you know, who was infamous. This is why you know, when you mentioned about the Carl Froch and Grove fight, and I was like, you know, same thing there. I thought it was, you know, there was a lot of unanswered punches. Yes, he had him on the ropes, but you know, Joseph Parker was throwing back. He was active. He wasn't like
There's a lot of unanswered punches, though,
almost.
Ron. A lot of
Yeah,
unanswered punches.
but you've got to give, you know, you've got to give the champ. I mean, what was he? What was the title that he held? Or
WBO interim.
interim? Yeah. So maybe, you know, that should be factored in. I don't know. I think it's easy for us to say that, you know, we're at home watching the team, you know, the fight with all the angles and all the highlights, and the referees kind of calling it real time. You've got to also factor in how round 10 had ended as well.
Yeah, I suppose so.
You
I
know, he
suppose
was
so.
also on his. Yeah, I mean, there was still a minute left of the round. I can't remember what the time was when he called the fight off. But Joseph Parker looked like, you know, he knew where he was, his surroundings. He was well aware. He was demonstrating, you know, with the referee. You know, he didn't look like, oh my God, you know, he's completely legless or, you know, doing a chicken dance or anything like that. Yes, Joseph Parker is a tough SOB as well. We've seen he's suffered, 6 knockdown in his career. I think it was. I think that's what they mentioned in one of the stats. So I 100% agree. All the polls, you know, on social media that I've seen, and you know, it seems to be unanimous that a lot of people felt that that fight just needed to continue. You know, maybe go down and, you know, maybe have that 8 count, and you know, see what happens from there. I think that would have been bittersweet, you know, kind of ending for what do you call it, Wardley. You know, he would have preferred to have won it that way without any controversy, that he won it clinically. You know, there is that level of doubt. Obviously, you know, we'll wait and see what the you know, Andy Lee and what Joseph Parker have to say about it, because obviously Joseph Parker didn't stick around for any comments after the fight.
So is it fair to say that the next fight for Fabio Wardley is the undisputed world title shot against Oleksandr Usyk, or do you think there's another sort of avenue you should take?
Yes, because, you know, I mean, he called out Usyk at the end.
Mm.
Yeah, you know, so fair play to him. Look at that incredible journey he's on. Let's just take a moment to appreciate that and respect that. You mentioned about the white collar boxing, 4 fights. He laced a pair of gloves for the first time at the age of 20. He was doing, he was in recruitment as a consultant or something, from what I heard in the commentary. You've got to take your hats off to him. I can't sing any more praises for him and his incredible short journey. I think seeing him from that Justice Funi fight and this fight, he's come on leaps and bounds. Usyk, a different kind of beast altogether. That would be the easy, fight to make. And as Frank Warren said, it's for all the belts.
It's for all the marbles.
All the marbles. How ridiculous is that? For this guy who should know, and he's, I love that he thanked Dillian White for for where he is now. He goes, look, if it wasn't for him, I'd be fighting in small hall shows, York Hall, every couple of months, and nobody would notice me. Look where this guy is now. He's at the top of the mountain. Well, he's almost there. I'd like to see him in another fight. Another British. We've got so many good British heavyweights that you could put him in with potentially. I'm not thinking of Moses Toma. I think I'd love to see them both with titles and then fighting each other. But that's a possibility. I think just Usyk, the class of him, I want him to have a proper shot at Usyk. The greats haven't been able to lace a glove on him. Usyk's beaten them all significantly. But who am I? I counted him out against Joseph Parker, and look what he did there. And you're saying he's going to be a problem with against Usyk because he's a different animal. He doesn't know when to stop. He doesn't. He takes a punch very well, and I liked a lot of what I saw tonight. Yes, he took a lot of punches, but he parried a lot of punches as well. His movement was a lot better, and I liked that he didn't when he's on the receiving end, he just automatically trades. But this time round, he was kind of holding on or using a little bit more smarts compared to what he did in the previous fight. So he is learning. He's improving with each fight. And this was his biggest test. And look, he's overcome that. Usyk, just that technical ability, I think might be too much for him. But again, we've been wrong, haven't we?
We have been wrong plenty of times in the past. And if anyone's due a break from Oleksandr Usyk, it's definitely Frank Warren. I mean, it's two guys of, it's 4 attempts at trying to beat Oleksandr Usyk, 2 with Dubois, 2 with Tyson Fury. I'm pretty sure he's really banking on Fabio Wardley to finally get a win over Oleksandr Usyk. It's a massive task indeed if that fight does happen. I do think that fight does happen next, Usyk, Fabio Wardley, because there's not many options out there. I think Fabio Wardley and Moses Atama probably did 2 real tests left for Oleksandr Usyk, but only time will tell. This heavyweight division, it's not dead yet, Ron. I mean, we discussed it last night, and I was kind of slating it, but after watching that, I just feel as if, and I'm not sat here saying, someone's got to beat Usyk because I don't like him. No, but it would be nice to see someone maybe dethrone him, and listen, only time is going to tell. It was just a short one tonight, Ron. So I do appreciate your time. We're going to bring the podcast to an end. We've got some exciting news to share before we go. We are hopefully going to be setting up in our new studio within the next coming week. So these podcasts are going to be more face-to-face live recorded rather than doing this over Zoom. So it'll be good to sort of look across the table, look at your ugly mug, Ron, and sort of get back to the good old days. But we are only 16 away from number 100, and we all know what that means. The good man himself, Ron, will be leading our 100th podcast. Touch wood, we actually get there. Ron, pleasure as always, mate. Anything you'd like to add before I let you go and you can go and get ready for your holiday?
Yeah, we've got a few more weeks until, a few more undercards coming our way. We've got the Conor Benn and the Eubank fight happening. You've got the Riyadh season. Some good fights on that one. I mean, that was advertised tonight, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the Ben Shalom BBC adventure. Let's see how that one pans out, and what the coverage is like, what the commentary is like, and how what the how many eyes it gets. Watching that. BBC hasn't had boxing on there for years, but I'm sure which we'll talk about in the coming weeks.
Ron always trying to stir the pot. Listen, leave the numbers to the promoters, all right, Ron? This is our job, okay? Let's stick to this, okay? I don't need Ben Shalom watching this thinking, oh, great, Ron steering the pot as always. But no, you're right. We have got some exciting cards coming up next Saturday night. There's a good light heavyweight undercard. Queensbury Frank Warren Promotions again. You've got Lyndon Arthur repeat myself. Lyndon Arthur versus Brad Ray, and Josh Bawatsi back in his first fight against Zach Parker. So you've got some good British domestic dust-ups. And then, of course, you've also got Eubank Ben 2, which is 3 weeks away. You've got the Fraser Clark Jamie TKV fight, which has been rescheduled. And then, of course, we've got Anthony Yard daring to be great as he takes on the great David Benavidez. So much to look forward to in the world of boxing right now. And we're hoping it's going to be a strong finish to 2025. Ron, pleasure as always, my man. And I really do hope you have a good holiday. Make sure you bring me back something nice. And no, if it is a Man United top, don't worry about it. I'm all sorted for bog roll, mate. But guys...
Yeah. Well, no need to cancel our pod just because Liverpool lost. And what was the result again last night? I'm surprised. I thought I was going to call a suicide watch for you, man. What's happening with the Liverpool season? Wow. Times are hard. You're the new United.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. All right, okay, all right. Remember, till it's mathematically done, we're still Premier League champions. So
if there's a marathon, I think they're doing CPR on you right now at the beginning of the marathon. You guys, 4 losses already. Bad Liverpool. Ah, good times, man. Anyway.
Enjoy them. They won't last long. Guys, thank you very much for your time. Make sure, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell for more Lights Out boxing content. Listen to this podcast on all the audio platforms. Again, the links are going to be below in the description. Thank you very much for watching podcast 84 of the Lights Out Boxing podcast.